Yes, sir. I've got to take it from my phone, Your Honor. I hope that's okay.
Okay, do you have it charged, or are we going to be okay for a while?
Yes, sir. That's why I'm taking it, because the computer crashed with my. It's been a bad day, so.
Okay, can you get somewhere stationary, a chair, or?
Yes, sir. I'm walking in my I'm walking in my car, if that's okay.
Okay.
Hate technology sometimes.
My excuse is I'm old, and I'm so old I remember carbon paper.
Okay, so I'm here. I'm sorry about that.
Young lawyers don't realize how hard it was back in the day. If somebody made an error and there was carbon paper, do it all over again.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all right.
There's no cut and paste, and all right. We'll resume cross-examination, and Mr. Bixson, if you'll be as brief as possible with
we'll try to, Judge.
Redundancy as possible. Thank you.
Gotcha. Ms. Colley, we just listened to some audio. Do you recognize your voice in that audio?
Yes, I do.
Did you recognize Mr. Schulman's voice in that audio?
Yes, I do.
And that was from February 4th. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And in that audio, we heard you say that you did, in fact, try to kill yourself. Isn't that correct? Oh, I think you froze for a second, Miss Colley.
I am. What was that?
I think you froze for a second right after I asked the question.
Your Honor,
okay, hold on, Miss Colley. Mr. Bixson, I heard the entire audio.
Mm-hmm.
I heard. I know for what purpose you played the audio. Let's save that for argument.
Okay,
yeah, I know where you're headed with it, but I mean, the audio spoke for itself. It's like 4 corners of the document. I heard it, and y'all can argue about it.
No problem, Judge.
Tell me what you think was a contrast or whatever.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and move forward from that, Judge.
Thank you.
Welcome. Ms. Colley, I'd like to talk to you about February 5th of 2023. Police responded to Mr. Schulman's house on that day. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and you made allegations that he had committed some physical act of violence against you. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
On that day that the officers arrived, they inspected your neck. Isn't that correct?
That they did a very poor job, and I would say no. They didn't really inspect my neck.
Okay, so your testimony today is that they did not inspect your neck.
Not the first round that came out. No.
Okay.
The second round of cops that came out that night did.
If we could pull up exhibit that's labeled P25, that's 2523, body cam video inspection of Elsie's neck.
Can you please look at my neck and clearly see that there's marks?
I took a look. I'll take another look. Can you look that way, man, please? Put your hand all the way down. Down.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Colley, do you recognize yourself in that video?
I do.
And that was from February 5th, isn't that correct?
I believe so.
Okay, and in that video, we saw the officer inspect your neck?
Yes.
Okay, Judge, I would like to go ahead and tender that video into evidence.
All right, Ms. Messiah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where my counsel is.
Okay, hold on, Ms. Colley. I'm asking Ms. Messiah to turn her audio on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you have objection?
No, it's not no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, admitted without objection. Thank you.
Ms. Colley, what we just saw in that video was that police officer inspecting your neck. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
He used a flashlight to look at your neck closely.
I would argue closely, but yes.
The police, in fact, told you on multiple occasions that there was no evidence to arrest Mr. Schulman. Isn't that correct?
No, they did not tell me on multiple occasions.
You didn't file multiple police reports regarding this incident?
I did not file multiple police reports, no. I went to the Brookhaven Police Department and filled out an incident report.
Was this after they responded to the incident on that day?
No, this was the day after.
So you did, in fact, go back to re-report this incident.
Yes, I did.
You also called them again the same night, and they came back out again to check on you. Isn't that correct?
Yes, I've been very open about that.
So 3 times they actually came out in regards to the same incident. Isn't that correct?
Well, no, it wasn't 3 times because the 3rd time I went out to the Brookhaven Police Department by myself.
So 3 times you reported this incident.
Yes.
And every time the police made the determination there was no evidence to arrest Mr. Schulman. Isn't that correct?
There was only one warrant out for the arrest.
I'm sorry, you said there was only one warrant out for the arrest?
When I went to the Brookhaven Police Department and told them what happened, one cop said that he was going to go get a warrant, and I suppose that one was denied. But
So there never was any warrant issued against Mr. Schulman, correct?
yes, that is correct.
You told the police that you were determined to have Mr. Schulman arrested, though, didn't you?
It's possible. I can't tell you everything that I said.
You told the
That-
police that you would get some of your friends and figure something out.
I don't think that had anything to do with me getting him arrested. I think it was me, you know.
So I'm sorry if I may, Lauren, you've got to focus, you've got to participate, you've got to answer Mr. Bixon's question. So listen clearly to Mr. Bixon's question. Hold on, stop talking. Listen to Mr. Bixon's question and answer his question.
Yes.
Thank you.
You told the police that you were a smart girl and you would figure it out.
Yes.
Because if Mr. Schulman was arrested, you could actually continue to stay in his home. Isn't that correct?
I don't know. I don't know the law on that. I can't answer that.
You discussed with the police trying to force Mr. Schulman to pay you a settlement of some sort. Isn't that correct?
I do not believe that is true. I do not remember holding that conversation. No. Mr. Schulman offered me many settlements, and like I reiterated, he took them away.
Judge, if we could pull up what's labeled as P31, that's 2523 body cam video.
Plausible, you know.
Can he be court ordered to, since is this fall under some sort of common law for me to, look at like some sort of settlement, like a housing situation? Something along
You
those
know,
lines?
you're not married. Realistically,
I don't know.
I wouldn't, from my point of, from my experience, especially again, like I came from a sheriff's office. When it comes to these court orders, because they're
I'm not trying to play that, I'm just saying.
there's nothing there that would and that I see that warrant unless there is something else that we're not privy to. But you're not married, you don't have any children together. Unless there was something hidden, there's no way a judge can say, "Oh well, you guys live together. You owe her this," because that would have been under common law marriage.
Right.
Thank you. Ms. Colley, do you now remember whether or not you had discussed with the police trying to force Mr. Schulman to pay you a settlement of some sort?
I wouldn't use the word force. I was simply talking with law enforcement because I don't know how this works. I knew that I was going to get kicked out of the house and that my relationship was ending.
And Ms. Colley, just to be clear, that was your voice and that was you in that video, correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay, all right.
Which police department was that?
I believe it's Brookhaven Police Department, Judge.
Okay, I didn't know because this is post service of the TPO. I didn't know if it was in DeKalb County or Gwinnett County or where.
Yeah, and this video, just to be clear, Judge, is on February 5th. So this is
Okay. I misunderstood you. I thought you'd said 25th. I'm going.
no, Judge. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
February 5th. This is the date
Okay,
of.
thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
No problem, Judge.
I was confused.
And Judge, we would just ask this video to be tendered into evidence.
All right, Ms. Messiah.
I'm going to object. We don't even know what date this, apparently, we don't know what date this, this video even took place.
Well, I think you just answered.
Well, Judge, Ms. Colley, do you remember what date this video was?
No, I don't.
Do you remember speaking to the police?
I spoke with many officers. I do not recall this particular conversation off the top of my head. No, I mean, I'm seeing it, so I recall it, but
Because this video looked like it was a continuation of the last video we just saw.
What was the location of this video? Was it in the house where you all resided together?
Yes, Judge.
I'm asking the witness.
yes, Your Honor, that was in.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Your Honor. that
Your
was-
audio is going down. Please speak up.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. What was your answer? Is it the residence where you and Mr. Schulman lived?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we know it was at least before February the 8th.
And Judge, just for the court's consideration, there is a date stamp in that video.
Okay,
So,
okay, it's established. I'm letting it in over objection.
okay. Now, on February 5th, after you allege Mr. Schulman violently attacked you, you refused to leave the house. Isn't that correct?
Refuse is a strong word. It was my best.
I'm sorry, Ms. Colley, your audio is going out there.
I don't know if your hand's over the mouthpiece or what.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes,
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 very
Ms.
well.
Colley.
Okay, thank you. I would say the word refuse is strong. It was my best bet financially, and to try and stay there for a couple days until I figured something out.
Now, Mr. Schulman offered to get you, offered to pay for an Airbnb if you agreed to leave. Isn't that correct?
That was retracted over
I'm
and
saying-
over and over.
But you told the police that you wouldn't do that. Isn't that correct? Because you wanted to stay at the house.
I said it would not be ideal. I said it would not be ideal, and I would like to stay at the house so I could begin packing my things, knowing that I was leaving.
So you did in fact reject that offer.
Excellent answer, Your Honor.
Judge, I didn't hear an answer.
I get it. Let's move on.
Gotcha, Judge. So you were willing to continue to live in a house with someone who you claim was violent?
Well, that's incorrect because he was not there. He left the house. He told the police that he would be left. That he was leaving the house for several days, and I was able to stay there. So my
Correct,
goal was
but-
to pack up my things and to get out safely.
But he didn't have to leave, did he?
No, he did not have to leave.
So he could have returned.
Yes, he could have, but
And this
I
is someone that you
didn't.
said was armed and dangerous?
But potentially, yes.
Ms. Colley, during this period, how long was Mr. Schulman gone? 2 or 3 days or what?
I would say probably 5 days. I was in the house, and I was just truly desperately trying to pack up my things before the police came and kicked me out, which I knew was going to happen. So,
Okay.
I mean,
I just want to know what the time frame was. Thank you.
yes, sir.
And so, Ms. Colley, how long did it take you to pack up your belongings?
Well, it took us about a week and a half to move into the house. So considering half of the things plus of the things I had bought were mine, I didn't really even have a chance. And once again, financially, I was going to need some help moving. So the day I
Okay, you're breaking up.
out of the house when the cops and everyone came. I'm trying. I really am. The day I was kicked out of the house was I had a woman who was going to help me financially, and that it fell through as well because I had 20 minutes to gather what I could and get out of the house.
Okay. To be clear, though, because you've enumerated two different reasons. So was the reason why you stayed in the home that you couldn't financially afford to move, or that you had to pack up your stuff?
Both. I made it clear that those were both hard reasonings.
And this whole day on February 5th, after Mr. Schulman allegedly assaulted you, you continued to contact him all day long. Isn't that correct?
I do not believe so, and it's not alleged. Mr. Schulman assaulted me on February 5th. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm in court. I didn't uproot my life for fun. I didn't do this for fun.
So you,
He
to be
was
clear, though,
violent with me.
your
Hold on,
testimony.
Mr. Bixon, let her finish her answer,
No
please.
problem, Judge.
Thank you. I didn't do this for fun. I'm trying not to get emotional, but Mr. Schulman hit me. He hit me to the ground. And I left the house for a reason. And that's why I'm just trying to start over with this protection order. And it's only, and I mean, I don't know what else to say. Mr. Schulman was aggressive and violent with me. He hit me to the ground. I would not do this for fun.
Okay, please don't repeat yourself. I get it one time. It's generally
I'm
all it
sorry,
takes.
sir. I'm starting to, yeah.
Just relax, just breathe, answer the questions, just breathe, take a deep breath, calm down,
Okay.
answer the
Thank you.
questions.
Now, Ms. Colley, you texted Mr. Schulman's mother,
I did. I admitted to that. I texted her
his
one
younger
time.
sister.
Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Bixon, we've already been over all this.
We haven't been, well, fair enough, Judge. I'll move on from that. Okay.
I mean, I heard her testify that she texted all of those people,
Okay, that's fine, Judge.
contacting them in some manner.
We're just pulling up, if you give me one.
43.
All right. Just pull up the 6 of it. I don't have it. Is it the full phone list?
Mhm.
Okay. Judge, if we could pull up what's labeled as P43, should be a list of phone numbers. Ms. Colley, do you recognize any of these phone numbers that had called Mr. Schulman? And if you need to reference some of the fake numbers that you had created, feel free to.
I don't recognize these. No, I don't.
Did you look at the numbers?
Mr. Bixon, we have already been through, she's acknowledged that while it may disagree whether it was 10 or 14 or 8 or whatever, she's
Here's the
acknowledged
issue.
that she had an app and she called him multiple times.
Well, the issue, Judge, is that she just said that she didn't call him on the 5th, the day that he allegedly assaulted her.
All
And
right.
I'm just making sure, were all of these calls before the 5th? Were some after? Were they the day that he allegedly assaulted her?
One, they're very difficult to read. I can't imagine her trying to read them on a phone.
I can't read them either, to be quite
Ms.
honest. And
Ms. Broom, any luck enlarging? Okay, that's a little better. Okay, there's about 4 or 5 calls on the 5th, and that's about 10 calls down from the top.
Now, Miss Colley, let me ask you this. Do you recall the numbers that you created to contact Mr. Schulman?
no, I do not.
So it is possible, in fact, that some of these numbers were from you. Isn't that possible?
Objection, Your Honor. Cause for speculation. She says she doesn't recognize the numbers. I don't even see any of her numbers on here on the 5th. I'm going to object, Your Honor.
Well,
There are some numbers from the 5th that I'm looking at that are about 10 down from the top, some of which appear to be 3 calls from the police. and then all the rest were labeled as spam risk.
That's correct, Judge. And
May I speak?
Judge, please.
Go ahead, Ms. Colley.
Yes, sir. I mean, I don't. If this was the 5th was the morning that Shay was very, very violent and hit me. So I would have cut off all communication with him because I knew a TPO was coming, because I know how this works. So I do not think that these are my numbers.
To be clear, Ms. Colley, you did contact Mr. Schulman after the 5th, though, correct?
I filed my TPO on the 6th,
No,
so
that's
I
not
don't
my
know.
question. My question is, did
Yes
you
or
in fact
no? Then explain.
Yes,
You did.
yes.
Okay. So we'll just leave it at that. We know that you reached out to Mr. Schulman after he allegedly, according to your allegations, at least after he assaulted you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, if we could pull up what's labeled as P35. This is audio from February 5th of 2023.
Your Honor, I'm just gonna ask what it's,
Can you summarize what it is, please?
Impeachment evidence, Judge, between Ms. Colley and Mr. Schulman. If Ms. Colley is testifying that she never called Mr. Schulman on the 5th, I think it's pretty relevant if she in fact called him on the 5th.
and Your Honor, she
Then she
said,
called him on the 6th.
right,
Well, yes, she did, Judge, but
Your
I think
question
it's,
was, did she call him after the alleged incident?
I
And
asked
he said yes.
after, yes, Judge, because she wasn't sure whether or not she had in fact called him on the 5th.
so you're gonna pitch her on what she's saying, she's not certain, her number's not on what your previous exhibit. They're all spams except for 3 from the police, and she's saying she's not sure, so you're gonna impeach her on.
That's fine. We can refresh her collection as well. But again, I think it's
What's the difference in
extremely-
this and what we just looked at?
because what we just looked at, Judge, she never verified. And because we have no verification
I
that any
understand.
of
Well,
those
what else are you going to show that's going to be clearer than what she
actual
already
audio
accused
recording of
about?
her calling him on the 5th.
For the purposes of establishing that he called him on the 5th, which she said she didn't know.
Again, to refresh her recollection, that's a totally legitimate thing.
Okay, how does this verify the 5th? Is it some kind of date stamp or what?
I'd have to listen to the actual content of it, Judge. Again, there's a lot here.
How long is this call?
How long is the call?
Because presumably you took notes about,
Well, I'm not going to get into that. Judge, I mean, the audio is about 5 minutes. If you just want to listen to 30 seconds just to verify.
Please.
Please.
As short a portion as possible.
Just a brief little anecdotal, just so we have it, Judge.
You know what's even funnier? I'm in your house right now and I can invite whoever the fuck I want over to fuck all night in your bed.
So you're going to invite other people into my house to have sex in my bed?
I didn't promise that, but it is a possibility because I can do it. And you're gonna have to sleep in that bed. Not
Okay.
me. Not
Lord.
me.
So when are you planning to be out?
When evictions are a month long process, I will sit my happy ass there and take a long way to make you miserable. You built your dream house, you got it, baby. I am going to enjoy my night in your home, let me tell you that. And it ain't gonna be
Okay.
by myself.
I'm sorry, so you're not it's gonna be by yourself, or you're inviting people to have an orgy in my bed?
I don't have to confirm or deny anything, and it's our bed, baby doll, and I haven't seen anything go down in a very long time, and I'm very upset. I've got a lot of energy.
That's-
And you know what? Maybe
Mine-
I'm a viper, maybe I'm a bitch, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that, but I'm not fucking autistic, and I don't have a reputation from hell. I don't lie to the authorities. I don't abuse my power as an attorney, and I'm sure it's all not about to lose my fucking job because so many people are reporting me to the state bar of Georgia.
Okay.
And you can laugh me off all you want. You can laugh me off all you want and say, oh, you don't know the attorney. You know, I wouldn't fuck with me, Shay, and you already have. You opened the floodgates. I would not fuck with me. You are losing. You have been reported multiple times by many women. Many women. I've talked to your exes. They had to schedule sex. Schedule it. You don't think that's embarrassing for you? You don't look
So
in
they were-
the mirror?
they
Have
were-
you looked in the
I'm
mirror?
sorry. They reported me for scheduling sex.
No, and you're talking in circles because you're scared. You've been reported to the state bar of Georgia for lying to the authorities and laying your hands on a woman. You know, that's why you're turning.
Judge, we can go ahead and pause it here.
All right.
Being crying like a.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Colley, did you recognize your voice in that audio?
Yes,
Okay. That in fact was from February 5th. Isn't that correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know why I
Keep it just,
To be clear though, that was after the incident where he allegedly assaulted you happened, correct?
believe so.
Now, the picture that you showed the court earlier that had red marks on the back of your neck, when was that picture taken?
It was taken the night of the 5th, that evening around dinner time.
But the first two reports that were made, they were made before that picture was taken or after?
The first two. Please ask the question again.
You made 3 police reports, correct?
I do not think I filed 3 police reports. No, I can't honestly answer that.
You already,
Mr. Bixon, I mean, just calling 911 and having them arrive doesn't mean that she made a report. So
okay,
maybe-
I can rephrase.
Maybe
So-
it contacts or something.
That's fine. I can rephrase. So, Ms. Colley, you contacted the police 3 times, correct? Regarding this incident.
I contacted the police twice, and I told you I went to Brookhaven Police Department the next day.
So we'll just for simplicity's sake, we'll call that contacting the police 3 times. Okay. Now, the first 2 times, those both happened on February 5th, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Was this picture taken after or before the second time the police came out?
Shay hit me really early that morning.
No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking,
I-
was
I'm-
this
I'm-
picture
I'm-
taken?
I'm
Okay,
trying
let,
to
let
go-
her let her think out loud, if you will, and so she can.
Fine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. It's a lot to think about. The attack was really early that morning, and that's when Shay had left the home. So yes, I called the police because that's when I had come in to get my things. He had hit me to the ground. I recalled the police. I believe that's where that body cam footage is coming from.
About what time did you call the police each time? Approximately.
see.
I know you don't.
Yes, sir. Well, I went to the house after staying in the hotel. That was probably around 7:15 a.m.
Was the
when
first time.
when Shay hit me. It was very early in the morning. So when the police came out to recall, and he looked out, right at them and said, "I didn't touch her."
Okay, about what time was that? That's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
First
Probably
call.
around 7:15 a.m.
Okay, I thought that's when the incident occurred. Did you call immediately?
Yes,
Okay,
immediately.
and I'm just trying to get the time frame. That's all I'm
Yes,
trying to
sir.
do. When is
Yes,
the
sir.
second time that you called them?
When my friend came out that evening, probably around 6:00 p.m. when
Is
she
that
saw
when
the
the
back of my
officer-
neck.
Is that when the officer in the body cam had the flashlight?
I don't believe so. I believe it was
That was
that morning. That I think that body cam footage was was like an hour or so after the aftershave
Okay, and then your friend came over sometime.
thrown me to the ground that evening.
Okay, was that before or after the second call?
That was before. She was very insistent on coming over. Yeah.
And then she took a picture of your neck?
Yes, she did. She said I didn't ask her to. I mean, she looked at the back of it and said, "This is really bad and red, and you need to take a picture of it right now, and we need to get the police back out here." And so I said, "Okay."
All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Bixon. I'm just trying to get the time frames.
That's fine. And Judge, just because I got a little lost in there. So is the testimony today that the picture was taken before the police came out the second time or after?
The picture was taken right before the police had come. The picture was taken right before the police came out for the second time.
And you showed that picture to the police?
Yes, I did.
And they decided that there still was no evidence.
And they decided what?
They decided there wasn't sufficient evidence to charge Mr. Schulman.
I didn't ask to charge Mr. Schulman. They asked if I wanted to charge him, and I said no.
Okay. If you didn't
Believe
want
it or
to
not,
charge,
I didn't want any of this.
why did you call the police if you didn't want him arrested?
I just told you my friend was insistent that we call the police. Amy, the one with the guns. I didn't want to. I wanted to be left alone.
Not even the first time when he called the police.
No, the first time I needed to call the police because I had just been slammed to the ground.
And the third time that you actually went to the police,
Yes. What about it?
you still didn't want him arrested?
No, they suggested it because I came with photos of all of his guns, and the cop's mouth about dropped open. He said, "Oh my God, yes, I need to go get you a warrant out," and the judge denied it, and that's all I know.
Judge, at this time, I would like to introduce what's labeled as P3. This is an incident report from February 6th of 2023.
And in general summary, this is the one sink at Brookhaven.
Yes,
The
Judge.
next day.
This is the incident that was made on February 6th at looks like 12 o'clock.
Okay.
And once we get pulled up, I was going to direct the court's attention to the fourth paragraph.
All right.
Sorry, Judge, what was that?
Okay. P what?
It's P3, Judge. It's labeled P3 2-6-23 incident report sub.
So this will be a supplemental report to the
Yes,
original report from the morning or the previous day.
Actually, Judge, this is when Miss Colley went to the police station
Right.
on February 6th.
But it's a supplement. It said supplemental, right?
It is, yes. But when
Okay.
I look at supplemental, the reason why I sort of took issue with that is because it's usually from the same like incident, but this is a separate report done at a separate time.
Different officer.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Ms. Broom, is that about as big as you can make it? I'm
If
gonna have
there's
to
any
go
way
get,
to just zoom in to the fourth paragraph, Judge.
I'm gonna have to go get my magnifying glass here in a minute.
Judge, that might make two of us.
Okay.
Okay.
This starts with Ms. Colley or after reviewing?
After reviewing.
Okay. Okay, that's
Now, Ms. Colley, you did in fact go to the police on February 6th, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And your testimony is the officer said he tried to get a warrant, but the judge would not sign it.
That is correct.
I'm going to go ahead and read some portions of the statement off and tell me if that was in fact what the officer said to you. After reviewing Ms. Colley's statement today, the statements she made yesterday, and the timeline of events according to her, I noticed some inconsistencies. Ms. Colley advised she had injuries on the morning of February 5th. However, I saw body camera video that didn't support her claims. She did not have any injuries. She also stated on body camera that she would find evidence to make sure Mr. Schulman is arrested. The scratches on her neck did not line up with how she alleged Mr. Schulman grabbed her neck. Ms. Colley did not have any concrete evidence that this happened as a result of an assault from Mr. Schulman. After Ms. Colley left, I reached out to Mr. Schulman to receive more information from his side. Would you characterize the statements that the officer told you that day in line with that statement?
Would I what now? I don't understand the question.
Your testimony earlier was that presumably the officer believed you, that he went to go get a warrant from a judge, correct?
Yes, and I stick by that. That's exactly what he acted like
But-
when I initially spoke with him.
These notes don't actually reflect that, do they?
I suppose they don't, but I can't control his thought process 8 hours later.
Thank you. Judge, we would go ask the court to admit this into evidence.
All right, Ms. Messiah.
And I'm sorry, I'm just trying to compare it because I do have a supplemental. And so apparently there were several supplemental. reports. I'm just trying to.
There are a lot of reports. I will give you that.
Supplemental, yeah. And so I'm just trying to, and I'm sorry, Your Honor, and Mr. Biggs, I'm just trying to
You're fine.
review what in the world. Okay, so can I see the time? Because I just want to compare it to another one that was on the 6th.
Should be in the top right of the screen. Well, I can't point.
You can point, but nobody can see what you're pointing at.
Okay, and so and my apologies, is this being offered as the final supplemental or a draft, or I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand.
I'm just tendering it into evidence to show essentially what the conclusion of the investigation was.
Okay, and so what time do you have as the conclusion? Okay,
It says, so right, like in the middle between the two red lines says date/time.
because I have another one for that date that another supervisor apparently reviewed, and a different investigator. And so I'm going to check. My challenge is that apparently there are, there's more than one police report from a different supervisor. I'm honestly a little confused here because there's another investigator, another supervisor on the same date where it was investigated. So I'm just, do you, Mr. Bixby, do you happen to have all of the whole police report, including the supplementals? Do you have like the whole document?
So this is the whole document as far as I'm aware of. There are other police reports that were made. I'm just, as far as purposes of this testimony, we're honing in on this one because it directly addressed it.
I mean, Ms. Messiah, you're free to
Yeah,
tender whatever you might have as well, but this appears to be from one officer, B. Willis. I don't know if he was just the officer on duty at the desk at that moment or whether he was one of the arriving officers on the previous day.
right, Your Honor. So I'm just trying to see if Mr. Bixon maybe has one in its entirety, because the one I have, this other one I've gotten from Mr. Bixon himself. And so I'm just trying to, you know, last time we had a hearing on this. So I'm just, or at least we had to end up having a continuance. So I'm just trying to see if there is one document that had, you know, all of them, or
They're all separate, all the police reports, and we have them labeled as exhibits. But again, like for purposes of this question, this one addresses it.
No objection, Your Honor. I'm just trying to, again,
I understand it's confusing when there's multiple reports out there and
the same day and different investigation. And so I'm just trying to see if it was like one document that had them all so I can, you know, okay.
Well, this particular one will be admitted without objection. If there are others, anyone wants to tender, they may do so.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Lastly, Ms. Colley, I want to address an issue that you raised in your pleadings. You stated that petitioner states the respondent is a gun enthusiast and has a large cache of firearms, correct?
I did say that, yes.
There's nothing preventing Mr. Schulman from owning these firearms, is there?
Your Honor, I mean, she doesn't know. First off, she's not a legal
Yeah, you may be asking a legal question there.
That's fine. I'll move on. Ms. Colley, Mr. Schulman never threatened you with a firearm, correct?
I've already answered this several times.
Yeah, I asked that question myself.
Fair enough. Judge, that's all I have then.
All right, any